Okay, talking about SUR120. Let me start by sharing my screen with y'all. Not sure where we should go first. Maybe we should just go to the Blackboard. Actually, go away, little gray thing. Is this the one that I want? Yes, I think so. I have too many pages open. Okay. Actually, I'm going to change that and just share the syllabus with you first, and then we'll look at the Blackboard. So the syllabus, no, that's not you. Where are you, syllabus? Can you guys see this syllabus? It says Pima Medical Institute at the top. Yeah, okay. Thank you. Okay. All right, so this syllabus, along with the lesson plan and the course policies, are uploaded in the course syllabus area. So on the left, where you see in Blackboard course syllabus, if you click there, you'll find all of these things there. So the breakdown of this class is 90 hours total, 60 of those being theory and 30 of those being lab. So you are going to get about 16 face-to-face contact hours in the lab, and the rest of those will be virtual. We are nearing the end of semester, what are we in, 2? Here's the course description. We're going to be looking at case management. Also, we will be learning pretty much all of our basic skills. We'll go over those specifically. We'll take a closer look at what the book says about surgical instrumentation, decontam, sterilization, disinfection, wound management, and then that also includes suture material. So there's a lot of content here. It's I would say, as far as core courses, this one is pretty jam-packed. So stay ahead of the game so that you don't get lost in the shuffle here, because there's a lot of stuff to learn. The breakdown of the course is and we'll look at what this is specifically, but 15.5% coming from tests and quizzes, which include your skills checkoffs in there. 45.5% is assignments, 15% is still PPS, and then 24% for final exam, which includes your traditional final exam, an instrument exam, and also a competency checkoff. So far, our skills checkoffs have been, you pass it, you get the points. You pass it, you get the points. You pass it, you get the points. But for this final checkoff in this course and moving forward in all of our core courses, there will be something called a final competency. That means that you and you alone will be performing all of the tasks that are assigned, and then you will be evaluated by yours truly. And so that grade will be based on your level of competency, and this one is worth 90 points in this class. It was 150, I took that down to 90. A lot of course objectives, 37 of them. So if at some point you care to peruse these, this is kind of what will dictate and guide our class along. Okay, so just know that that's loaded in the Blackboard for you. I'm gonna close that out. And then we'll go look at the Blackboard now. Okay, so The Blackboard reflects what is in the lesson plan. Okay, so the paper copy of it, if you want to print one out and have it by your side at your workstation, you can definitely print that out, but I've just copied and pasted the various sections of it into the Blackboard. So this first part gives you a good breakdown of the different assessments that are associated with the class. So we have a few post-tests. Each of those are worth 5 points, and we're looking at 6 chapters in this class. All right. The week 2, 3, 4, and 5 labs have to do with your skills checkoffs. So week 2 lab, all of these sheets in your workbook, we have to fill out and sign, and then you have to upload. Okay, so I'm asking if before you come to lab, you can kind of group these guys together. I don't care if you rip them out of your book and staple them together, something that will make it a little bit easier for me when the time comes, and for you, for me to go through and sign all of these. So I put the pages there for you, but they need to have your name, the date, and your signature, and then I'll fill them out and put my signature, and then they will need to be scanned and uploaded to the Blackboard. That's for week 2. That's all that we're covering in week 2, only those things. And then in week 3, just a few little guys here in week 3, okay, which will have to be uploaded. Your time card will also be a part of that. It's just going to go all into one upload instead of time card and skills being separate. I just put them all into one. Okay, so for that first one with all of those skills checks, that's going to be worth 45 points. And then the next one, 20 points. And then for week 4, I'll talk a little bit more about what we're going to be doing, but you will upload a competency sheet and your time card for week 4 and week 5. And we'll look at what that competency sheet looks like. Okay. As far as assignments, some familiar faces, study guides, 1 for each chapter. So there's 6 of those. Threaded discussions, we're familiar with those. And then a bunch of group shenanigans, which we'll show you in a second. So most of this stuff is going to be done together as a group, I think, except for the skills project. And then you'll have a couple Blackboard activities mixed in there. Your PPS is there, that doesn't change. And there's that final exam, which is 100 points, your final competency, which is 90 points, and your instrument final, which will be 50 points. And that's just going to be over basic instrumentation. We're going to be focusing on chapter 1 in this book, in your surgical instruments book. So chapter 1 is the instruments that we're going to be focusing on. And we already know quite a few of those. So it shouldn't be as much heavy lifting for you. Okay, so here we are on today. As it shows, we're going over SUR120. And then for your Blackboard activity, this is what I would really like you to do. I would like you to put the homework due dates in the calendar that you use. All right, if you use your phone, if you have one that hangs up by your workstation, if there's something else that you use, let me shut my door, hold on one second. So that's what I would like you to do for your Blackboard activity for today. At minimum, the study guides and the threaded discussions. The other stuff that you add, is up to you, but just to have an awareness of when the homework is due. So however you would like to do that, you can do a hard copy calendar, scan it, upload it. You can do something with a link. You can do a screenshot if it's an electronic one, whatever the case may be, but that's going to be your upload, okay? Questions about that? Sticky notes? Alyssa, are you saying you use sticky notes for your due dates? Sticky notes for the lab sheets. Oh yeah, I think that sounds good. Hold on, Rulan is having trouble getting in. Okay. Yes, sorry, I didn't have my chat open. So sticky notes for the lab sheets, I think that sounds great, like a great idea. Any questions about what your Blackboard activity is for today? I just want to get you looking at the due dates. That's my whole objective. Okay. Okay. Okay, so this, I don't know if this looks crazy to you. It kind of felt crazy to me once I started trying to figure out how I'm going to be in two places at once. So this is what I came up with. Starting on Monday, every Monday we will have our live online learning. So that means we'll have a Zoom session. It will be synchronous. We're going to focus on what the lab skills will be for that week. Okay, that will be our goal. We'll also review some instruments as time permits, but we'll be working with those in the lab too, okay? So that's what our Mondays will look like. And then there will be a Blackboard activity. Now, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you guys are gonna take turns in your groups coming to campus for a 4-hour lab. Okay, so group A, you got Mondays, or Tuesdays, sorry. Group A, you have Tuesday. Group B, you have Wednesday. Group C, you have Thursday. Group D, you have Friday. All right, so I've highlighted those in yellow. And so as you come to the lab next week, one thing that you need to do besides uploading your skills and your time card when you get back to your home is to choose a videographer that will be videoing you in week 4. Okay? In week 4, we will be doing a practice run through of our final competency. So you'll need somebody to hold your phone, hold the phone, and video you. And then later on in week 5, I believe, that's where you do your skills project. And you will need that video to complete your skills project. Okay, so that's why it says choose a videographer, all right, from within your group. Okay. So, oh, you made it, Rulan. Good. I see you. Okay, so the rest of you, so while group A is in lab on Tuesdays, group B, C, and D, you have a group task. And for each chapter, you will do a similar thing. Okay, so when you're not in lab on Tuesday, group B, C, and D, you are going to, as a group, so a Zoom would be a good way to do this, view the recorded lecture that I have posted in the resources area, which I have not done yet, but I will. So you'll watch the lecture together. You can talk about it. You can discuss it. You can hash it out. Okay. And then you will do the case study. There's only one for chapter 9. You will do it together as a group. And there is specific details in the group section. And I'll show you that here in a second. Okay. And then you're going to talk about some muddy points. So when I say muddy points, what I mean is things that are still unclear. Even after you've read the book, you've worked on your study guide, you've hashed it out as a group, things are still confusing. Okay, those are some things you're going to identify and post in your discussion area for your Chapter 9 review. And then by your lonesome at 11:30, you will take your post-test. Or actually, no, that is not true. Post-tests are going to be taken on Monday, so I have to change that. I forgot. I decided that post-tests will be on Monday. So your post-test won't actually come until week 3. So you'll take post-tests for 9 and 10 in week 3, 11 and 14 in week 4, and then 20 and 21 in week 5. So I'm going to move those. I moved them inside, but I just forgot. I've made so many changes to this. It's crazy. Okay, so that's what you'll do as a group activity when you're not in lab. And then group A, you will get to do that same activity on Wednesday because you won't be in lab, while group B is in lab, and C and D are moving on to chapter 10. And then A and B, you will move on to chapter 10 on Thursday. And then Friday, you will have a separate group project. On Fridays is when your threaded discussion and your study guides for that week will be due. That happens every single Friday. Okay, so I'm just gonna skate through here down to week 6. So week 6 on Monday, we will review for the exams, and then Tuesday of week 6 will be your exams. So you'll complete your survey, you'll do a final exam, which is worth 100 points, and then you will do an instrument exam, which I believe is worth 50 points. Yeah, 50 points. So this week, week 5, is when you're going to be doing your final competency. Week 4, you will do a practice. And then weeks 2 and 3, we're going to be going over all the skills. So it's going to kind of be crazy, but it's going to be super fun. So let me go to one of the group areas. In your groups, you're still the same groups as you were before. So I'm just going to click on group A. And in group A, and each group, but if you click on group tasks, I put some reminders in here for you of when things are due. So like on 8/25, group A, you have lab and you got to upload some stuff. Same on 9/1 and 9/8 and 9/15. Okay, so that if you click on group tasks, it's going to give you some reminders of that. So let me go back. Hold on one second. And then the other thing will be your group discussions. And they will not show up, so don't get scared when you look in yours and you don't see these, because they will not show up until the day that they're due. So remember, every single day you have to have activity in the Blackboard. So except for your regular threaded discussion and study guides, everything has to be uploaded on the assigned day so that you get attendance credit. Does this make sense? Okay, so this spells out each of your chapter reviews. So as a group, you're going to review it. You're going to identify your muddy points. As a group, you're going to complete the case study as a Google Doc. Someone will upload the link. And then individually, you're going to post your questions or muddy points to the threaded discussion. That will get your activity, right? So everybody will have an activity in the discussion board for that day because we're not in class together, whatever the case may be, okay? So that pretty much.
I was going to ask, are you wanting us to upload the discussion as well? So if we did Zoom, like the Zoom recording or something like that.
That would be fantastic. If it's not too much trouble, that would be wonderful. Yes, I like watching those. Good question. So all the chapters will pretty much be the same. You'll be doing some case studies or you'll be doing some review questions, okay? But it spells it out for you. And then you'll post your muddy points individually. So each week there's also some sort of activity for the most part. So the group activity, the first group activity has to do with creating a Google slide presentation and then a mind map. And all the details are there for you, including the website that you need to go to. The next project will be instruments and best practices. So there's an instrument quiz that's in the back of your surgical instruments book. I think did I put the page number? Yeah, it starts on page 25 and there's 20 questions. So what I'm asking you to do as a group is create a Google Doc, and then you will type out each of the questions, put what your answer is, and then provide a rationale. Now, providing rationales is going to be something that you will have to do again in the future. So this will give you a little bit of a taste for that. Basically, the rationale is, hold on, I'm looking at Jacob's question. Which book has chapter 1 instruments we need to be studying? So the differentiating surgical instruments, your surgical instruments book, the blue one, okay? Your break is not the 18th. And the reason why is because we have shifted to a Wednesday through Tuesday week. So this class ends on a Tuesday, your break will start on a Wednesday, you will have a break till Tuesday, and then semester 3 will start on Wednesday, September 30th, when the new cohort starts as well. Okay? Does that answer your questions, Jacob? Those are good ones. You never got the blue book?
I was going to ask, can you hold yours up again, Miss Windsor?
Yeah, it might be an old edition, but it's differentiating surgical. No, that's operating room skills. You should have an instrument book. Yeah, that's the one.
Okay, so it's the same one we've been looking at when we review the instruments as far as the chapters go, because we did the basic instruments, which were chapter 2.
Yeah, actually, no, I have the wrong book. Okay, I'll change that.
Okay, I'm confused.
I'm confused too. This class has me like next, like 1 foot on a banana peel and 1 on the grave.
Oh,
okay.
No.
Surgical instruments chapter. Okay, so I will check that and I'll make sure that that gets corrected. See, that's why I go over this stuff with you, so you guys can help me out.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. All right, so you'll do something with instruments in your instrument book, and then you'll have a discussion together with your group, focusing more on lab skills. So what I thought we could do is, as a group, you can kind of discuss the individual challenges that you're having as far as lab skills, and then come up with some best practices that you can use when you're in the lab and when you're outside of the lab, right? Because there's work we have to do outside of the lab too. So you will create a Google spreadsheet, and I put what needs to be on the spreadsheet, and kind of collectively you will come up with these strategies. Individually, because you each have to have some sort of activity in the Blackboard, you will create a personal motivation statement, okay? And you will post that. And if you have no idea what a personal motivation statement is, it's basically what motivates you to keep going when the going gets tough. So I posted a site that they're kind of a little bit lengthy. Yours doesn't have to be as lengthy as they are, but it's kind of motivation to go into the Peace Corps. Anyways, it'll give you an idea of kind of what I'm looking for, just for you to kind of spell out for yourself what is going to keep you keeping on during these difficult times, or what has been the thing that's been keeping you keeping on, because it's already been difficult times. Okay, so that's what you'll do for your individual shenanigans. Then you're going to have a group project part 1, and that is going to be to create a review game using Whisk Online. So we're going to revisit that. And each of you have different content. So here we're looking at group A, which has chapter 9 and a smidge of chapter 20. However many questions you do is up to you. However, you want the game to be a comprehensive review. So having said that, and knowing that your classmates are also going to be using it to review, let that be your guide. And then you'll designate one member of your group to email that link to me, and make sure that you change the access settings so that anybody can access it that has the link. And then I'm going to post those in the resources section. And then for your part 2, you're going to play your games and your peers' games, okay? But for the part 1, you have to do some sort of individual thing. So the individual thing that you'll be focusing on is researching a real life situation where there was a retained item during surgery. And that is something that relates to the chapter content that you'll be going over that week. So you don't want to double up on the scenarios that you post in the discussion. So I suggest that maybe you can coordinate that as a group before you disperse to write your summaries. Maybe you can research together, and if there's 5 of you in the group, you can find 5 different ones and you can divvy them up, or whatever the case may be, so that there's each person has a different one. All right, so you'll provide a summary of it. You'll discuss strategies for prevention. Let's say a malleable retractor was left in the abdomen. Okay, so you can summarize that and then talk about how that could have been prevented, which just seems absolutely ridiculous to me. And then make sure that you include a reference and a citation. All right. And then your group 2 project or group project part 2 will be to play, and then as a group, and then individually, one thing you learn from each of the review games. Okay. Chapter 11 and 14, those will be self-explanatory. Something else you'll be doing for one of your projects or group activities is to create an instrument presentation and then record a role play, which I can't wait to watch because I think those will be awesome. So the first part is going to be associated with the instrument chapter in our Fuller's book, which I think is chapter 11. So whatever that chapter is, let me see, I'm pretty sure it's chapter 11. Yeah, so in chapter 11 on page 207, it talks about the different categories of instruments, and we've already been talking about these. So what I would like you guys to do is put together a Google slide presentation with those different categories and some examples of each. And I've outlined the details that I would like to see. And then you'll designate one person to upload that presentation. And then you will do a role play. So in chapter, let's see, which chapter is that? I think it's in the case management chapter. Chapter 14, no. I think so, yeah. Chapter 14, which is actually recovery, talks about post-op care. So in post-op care, it talks about the handoff procedure, and there are several bits of information that the nurse and the anesthesia care provider will give to the post-op nurse when they bring the patient in. So as a group, you'll review what those steps are. I put the page there. You will create a fictitious patient and a situation to address the information that is provided. And then you will divvy up the roles. We'll decide who's going to do what. And I gave some suggestions there. And then you'll record your role play. If you're recording your Zoom, then it'll just be part of your Zoom. And then individually in the discussion, you'll post one thing that you learned from each of those activities. And hopefully fun is had. Okay, so those are the various bits that you will be doing when you are not in lab. Okay. Hopefully they're pretty self-explanatory. What questions do you have?
Really, I'm still a little just confused about what we're supposed to upload today.
What you're supposed to upload today is something that tells me that you have put the due dates for the homework in some sort of calendar or device that's going to help you remember when things are due.
Will this lecture be posted?
Yeah, I'm recording it as we speak. So Rainey, about your anxiousness, you know, you get the gist in the lesson plan. It's just not all of the details, but that's part of working together as a team. So I have no doubt that as a team, you guys will be able to accomplish any and all. Okay? Sometimes in surgery, we don't know what's coming around the bend either. It's going to be okay. All right.
So the role play will be on Zoom and we just record that?
Yep.
Is that right?
Yep. Yep. I think it would be best for most of these to just continue doing what you were doing before by recording your Zoom and then just posting it. Yeah. What other questions? I want to
role play. Are we doing it at our place or at the PMA, like in class?
No, so it's just going to be on Zoom. So you'll have to, you know, you can record and then you can put the screen on like the gallery where it like shows everybody, and you'll just have your roles and you'll introduce yourselves and then you'll ask your questions. It's basically verbal information that's being transferred between the OR team and the post-op team.
I thought we were gonna have to like make a bed and like move someone over or like practicing a skill or something, but it's just verbal. Okay.
Yeah, it's just verbal so that you, and when you look at the handoff in the chapter, you'll see that it's like verbal information that is communicated between the two parties. Like, you know, there's no moving the patient. Once we get them to post-op, whatever bed they're on, they stay there. The anesthesia care provider and the circulating nurse will relay all of the pertinent information to the PACU nurse just so that they're on the up and up. Does that make sense? Okay, good. So let's look at something else a little bit closely. Hold on one second. Okay, so for your skills project, this is where that recording comes in. So in week 4, you had someone record you, all right, doing your shenanigans, your practice, because in weeks 2 and weeks 3, we're going to be learning the skills and practicing them kind of in bits and pieces. And then in week 4, you'll do a practice run through. Actually, that's supposed to be week 4. Let me change that. Skills week 4. I had to like change all of this around. In week 4, when you do your practice, somebody will record you. And then in week 5 is where you'll do your critique of that video. So I'm going to show you the final lab competency document, and that is what I will use to score you, and that is what you will use to do your own critique. So you'll just download, and I attached it here, an empty one, a blank one, and then you'll just score yourself. Like I would score you, but you're gonna critique yourself. And then after you do that, I've attached a SWOT analysis. A SWOT analysis helps you to identify your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats in association with your skills. Okay, so you will fill out the critique or the lab competency sheet. You'll fill out the SWOT analysis, and then you'll create an action plan, which is going to tell me how you will continue to hone your craft. Okay, and it says that right there. Upload competency sheet, SWOT, and action plan to Blackboard. Okay, so let's look at the competency sheet really quickly. Okay, so like I said, this is going to be worth 90 points, and these are all the skills that you're going to be observed on. All right, so are you properly attired, free of jewelry, and you have on all your PPEs? Okay, that's the objective. If you meet this criteria, then you're going to get a 1. If you meet this criteria, a 3. If you meet this criteria, a 5. That grade will go here, and then I'll put my feedback. Okay, there will be a preference card that you will have, and you will need to have that with you and check your supplies. Now, don't get scared because we're going to go through all of this. You'll have all of this practiced, okay? So you'll be familiar with it. I just want you to get a gist of what this competency is going to be about and know where to find the form so that you can review it, all right, before your competency. So then we'll perform a basic hand wash or verbalize a basic hand wash probably. And then you'll open all of your sterile things. Okay, you're going to scrub, you're going to dry, you're going to gown and glove, you're going to drape your mayo stand, you're going to organize your mayo stand, you're going to organize your back table, you're going to do a count, you're going to gown and glove the surgeon, you're going to drape the patient, help drape the patient, pass some instruments, and you'll also receive some saline on your field. So you'll need to label that and verbalize that when you pass it. Okay, so we'll go over all of that. So handling solutions. So those will be the things that you'll be graded on for this first competency. Okay, what questions do you have about this, like superficially? Let me see. Alexis, is there a chance to redo failed competencies? Not yet. So, you know, if you get a poor score on this final competency, it is not going to keep you from going to the next semester. So we typically don't do redos on competencies until we get to the terminal checkoff. And the terminal checkoff happens just before you go to clinicals, and you have to pass it with a 77% or better. And if you do not pass it in 2 attempts, you do not go to clinicals and you get withdrawn from the program. Okay? What other questions do you have?
I have one about this in relation to, so
I'm sorry, you're breaking up, Ian. I can't hear you. This is done at school. Yes. It's a skills checkoff. This will be done at school. Yes. You will be recorded at school. Week 2, we're going to practice preoperative skills. Week 3, we will practice intraoperative skills in your lab session. Week 4, you will do a practice run through, and that's when somebody's going to need to video you. And then in week 5, you'll do your final, but you'll be critiquing that video as your individual project for that week. Does that make sense? Does that help? Okay, you're welcome. Alexis, for your question, yes. If there are areas where you identify or we identify together where we might need to do a little bit more honing of our craft, absolutely. Will typically be available exactly following our class. So, and on Monday afternoons as well. So we can definitely, I think it would probably make the most sense that if there are those of you that find you're having difficulty with a skill, then maybe stay after on your scheduled lab day. Okay, how does that sound? But if that doesn't work and you need to come in on a Saturday, then just let me know and we'll plan to do it. So whatever you guys need, I will work with you to give you the practice and the support that you need. Okay? You're welcome, of course. What other questions do you have about stuff? So, Rainey, I've been thinking about what you said about feeling anxious, that those things aren't available until the day of. Would it be a helpful compromise to make them available prior to 8 a.m. so as a team leader, you can review that and get a game plan together before you meet with your team? Okay, what time would you like them to be available on the day of?
I don't know about the rest of the team leaders, but I would like at least a half an hour just to have an idea as to what is expected and what's upcoming and just figure it out.
Okay. How about I just make them available at like 5 a.m. and then at whatever time you feel comfy before 8 o'clock, I think that's a good amount of time so that, hopefully that will work with everyone's schedule. Is that sound okay? Okay, perfect.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, of course.
I could feel my anxiety level just went, oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the feedback. I just kind of had to think about it in my brain for a few minutes. Okay, perfect. So I will do that. I will go back through all of them and make them available earlier. So I'll definitely do that. I'll make the correction to the skills that mistake that I found there, and then I'll correct the instrument chapter snafu. Okay, if there's only 2 things that were like really screwed up, I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, this has been crazy. It's like the craziest puzzle I've ever put together in my life. Like, oh my goodness. So I will try to keep you one step ahead in the announcements at the best that I can, saying, okay, hey, this is coming up. These groups are doing this. These groups are doing that. So check your announcements. I'll try to, I don't know, maybe it might be best if I start posting announcements the day before. Yeah, of what's coming up the next day, like, hey, tomorrow XYZ is happening. Would that be more effective than doing it like early in the morning? Okay. All right. I'll make that note. Announcement the day before. Okay. And then that way, you know, we can say that I'll have that announcement posted by close of business on the day before, so 5 p.m. And then if you guys could look at it between 5 p.m. and whenever you go night-night, if you have questions, then you can reach out to me. And then that way you won't be trying to get me when I'm in lab with the other, whichever group I'm with. Because I know it's kind of hard to get a hold of me when I'm doing that and you have a question right away. So that will help me out. Meow. Okay, I'm losing my mind. I really am. Okay, what other feedback do you have? Found some really great videos. I'm really excited that go along with the OR skills book. So, things are falling off my desk. So we can, we'll be looking at those on Mondays, you know, to try to get prepared and get in the right mindset for our week labs. What else? Other thoughts or comments? Any violent reactions? I mean, you know, if you got them, I'll take them. Okay. What I'm hoping is that next semester we will have an additional person on our team, and then I can be in 2 places at once. Well, no, not really, but I could be in one place and the instructor could be in another. So kind of kicking around the idea of having one person, you know, in lab, covering labs, and then the other person in lecture every day. And so that way, you know, you have 2 instructors, and those of you that aren't in lab at least have an instructor available to you. So anyways, that's what we're going to look at moving forward. Alrighty. Anything else? I will create new Zoom links for the SUR120. That's something that I haven't done yet. So, and then I will post that in the course content like I did for SUR140. And then you can just use that same link every single time. But it will only be on Mondays. We're only going to have synchronous meetings on Mondays. And then my thought is, as you do your chapters and you post your money points, those are things that I can use to kick off the next live session. Okay, if you have questions about this or that, that will kind of guide me on what I need to talk about or review with you in that live session. Okay, so try to use that to the best of your ability to communicate with me things that just still don't make sense. And then that'll help guide me in what I need to cover in the following session. Okay? Sound good? Okay. Anything else before we sign off? Okay, if you could get me some sort of something that you've thought about the due dates for these things by close of business today, that would be fantastic. Because that's what I'm going to need to have something in there to post your attendance for this class, right? Because we ended SUR140. Your test was your attendance for that, so everybody got full attendance posted for that, or they will have, but this class is separate. So make sure you post something in that Blackboard activity for today, okay? Okay, I think that's all for now. Have a good weekend. All right. If you need something,